Okay, practice sermon. Happy Mother's Day. You know how you have the who's who when you're in high school and everyone goes crazy about it and you gotta be most popular, best looking, all those things that really don't mean anything. If we were to take today, we're going to talk about Hagar. Who is Hagar? And why is the pastor talking about Hagar on Mother's Day? Who is Hagar? If we were to do a who's who on Hagar, if we were to take her early life, not her later life, her early life, she would get something like a reward in the who's who of most likely not to succeed. Not most likely to succeed, but most likely not to succeed. Now Hagar was a slave. Either Sarah, Abraham's wife. Not only was she a slave, God had promised in the preceding chapters that he would receive descendants. And Sarah said, too old to have children. You have to take my slave girl and use her to have children. And Abraham does. Now if you look at this, in modern day, Hagar overcame adversity. Because as she had to sleep with Abraham, she was coerced, she was forced. This is rape. It's modern day sex trafficking, sex slavery, as we call it, or human trafficking today. So she has to go through that atrocity. And the next thing she is she's getting attention from Abraham, and Sarah's not liking it. And Sarah says, it's so mean to her and so harsh that Hagar takes off. She's out of there. And she's at her breaking point. But Hagar is tough. She is tough like Bethlehem iron steel. You cannot break Hagar. But she's at a breaking point. And what gives her strength? The Lord gives her strength and says to her, Hagar, you have to go back. You have to go back because you are pregnant. And your son, he will receive a nation. And she goes back, knowing that her son will receive a nation. And she's pregnant. But has to go back and learn under Sarah as her harsh treatments. And she goes back in the atrocity of harsh treatments. And God promises Sarah to have a baby even at her old age. And Sarah has a baby. And then there's more problems when Isaac is born from Sarah. As Hagar's son Ishmael, there is hatred from Sarah towards Hagar and Ishmael. And they say. And Hagar has to leave because Sarah orders it. And Father Abraham doesn't want to do this. Father Abraham is talking. God comes and talks to him and says, it's okay, I will give him a nation. Your son Ishmael will receive a nation. So Abraham gives him a bag of things and sends him off to the desert. This is like giving someone a bag of something, a couple bottles of water, and send them out on the streets, a mother and her son, to survive. But Hagar is so tough like iron. She overcomes it. And she goes out in the desert. But she comes to another breaking point as this tough woman comes to another breaking point. As her iron begins to bend and she's losing strength. She starts crying because they ran out of water. And she's not crying for herself. She is crying because she's worried about her son dying of thirst. Not herself, but her son dying of thirst. This is the selflessness. Mothers, you are so selfless. You worry about your child more than yourself. And this is what Hagar did. She was worried about her child, not herself. And God says to her and gives her strength. The Lord strengthens her. When she is tough as iron as she was, He strengthens her. And He says, take that baby. Lift that baby up. And she does. And there's water. And she doesn't stop there as they have water. And she rejoices. But she doesn't stop there. She keeps going. And she finally gets to where she needs to be. And she knows that her son is promised a nation. And she is able to find a wife for her son. She's tough. She was able to overcome so much to give her son a nation as God had promised, and she trusted. And when she was ready to break, God strengthened her. Mothers, you are tough. It is part of your DNA. You are tough like iron. You were chosen to bear children, not men. That's a joke. We can't even go through the flu without complaining. A week of the flu, we complain. And you are the ones chosen to give birth. You are tough. It's part of your DNA. You're like iron. And you can't stop. You have to keep on going. Women, mothers, grandmothers, keep going. And when you're at your breaking point, let the Lord be your strength. Not only are you tough, you're selfless. A mother's love is selfless. She was so selfless to cry for her children, for her child, Hagar, for Ishmael, not being able to have drink. Women and mothers and grandmothers are selfless. They care. As Desmond Tutu says, that women can endure suffering with joy, as he's talking about joy through suffering. And Desmond Tutu is the Archbishop of the Anglican Church from South Africa. And he says, women are so tough they can endure the strength of the suffering as they have that child. They're giving birth and all that pain that they go through. But when that child comes out, that brings on joy. It's joyous, although the suffering. So there is joy in the suffering. And another thing a mother does, that Desmond Tutu pointed out, is a mother could be dog-tired, working 40, 60 hours, take care of her children. Dog-tired, not feeling good, run down. And when her child gets sick, she doesn't worry about her elements. She worries about the child. And through the suffering of that child, she doesn't feel her suffering. And there's joy when that child gets better. So women can endure the suffering and bring joy into suffering. Also, some of you women that can't conceive a child. And there's major suffering in this. You can't have a child. Or you're having a hard time and you decide to adopt, and all the paperwork and all that you have to go through to adopt the child. When you get that child, no matter where that child comes from, there is joy through that suffering. Women, you are so tough. You're tough like Bethlehem iron. As I went to Bethlehem this week, and there was a sign, Nellie Ross had said, as the women took care of the factories during the First and Second World War. And in Bethlehem factories, a dangerous job in the steel. She said in one of her quotes, a man had said to her that there were men had resentment towards the women. And one man had said to her, Nellie Ross says, that the man came back. He said, when I come back, I'm not going to have the job because you women are so good and such good workers. So women, know that you are tough. Your love for your children is selfless. And you can bring joy out of suffering. But most importantly, as Hagar, when she felt like she was at her breaking point, she knew the Lord gave her strength and kept her tough. When you are down and out, know that the Lord will give you strength. You are to be admired. You are to be respected. Women, mothers, and grandmothers. For your toughness, for your selflessness, for your ability to overcome suffering with joy. Remember, when you feel like your iron is bending and you have a hard time, know that the Lord is your strength. You're tough. You're selfless. You're able to overcome suffering with joy, and you need to be admired and respected. Happy Mother's Day.